Good evening, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us in this space. When I first read about the topic for today, as a mom, as an aunt, as somebody who speaks to young people, I was so excited about this topic because I feel we haven't had enough of information, even as parents, into being able to raise financially responsible children. First of all, big thanks to Mango Capital for giving me the opportunity to host this spaces, and of course to our sponsor for the evening, SBM Bank. I'll just give us a very quick introduction into our conversation today, and this will be a discussion on how to raise financially responsible children in today's digital age. There is a growing importance of financial literacy, not just with even just the younger people, but for us as well who are a lot older. And this session will explore practical ways for us to be able to teach children the value of money, the value of savings, and responsible spending as well. We will discuss how parents can use everyday activities like chores, like allowances and goal setting to nurture healthy money habits. So this conversation will focus on the broader impact of financial education on the next generation and how early financial lessons contribute to building a financially savvy society. I'd like to introduce my panelists now so we can get into the conversation. We have Mwende from SBM Bank, but I'll also give her an opportunity to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about her. Then I'll invite Duncan to also do the same, and we will get into our conversation. Mwende, let's start with you.
Thank you so much, Derian, for the wonderful introduction to today's topic. I'm quite excited to be here. It's something that's really close to my heart and actually the heart of everybody at SBM. But before I introduce myself, I think it's important for people to know who SBM Bank. Many people may not know us. So SBM actually stands for State Bank of Mauritius. So we are headquartered out of Mauritius. We entered this market about 8 or 9 years ago in 2017 through acquisition of 2 different banks. And we are in several countries. We are in India, we are in Madagascar, Mauritius, and of course, Kenya. So in Kenya, we have about over 30 branches, and we are in every important county. And let me say that. And we are growing, and we want to make sure that we're in every corner of Kenya to just be able to give this fantastic offering of Busara to every parent, because we know that it's something that everybody is looking for. So in terms of who I am, Mwende Mulandi, the other government name is Magdalene. So for those who are looking for Magdalene, I'm the same person. And I head the marketing and communications function at SBM Bank. So quite excited to be here. We've been cooking this in the kitchen for quite a while and excited to be part of this conversation so that we can take it forward and make sure that every parent is able to raise the next generation of financially literate children. Thank you.
We are all really looking forward to the conversation and to learn more about what SBM Bank is doing to raise the next generation of financially empowered generation. Duncan, let's come to you now.
Good evening. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Duncan Kibero in the Products and Innovations Unit of SBM Bank. I believe Mwende has given a brief of who SBM is. And it's always my joy when I interact with the market, not only to act as an ambassador of the bank, but also to learn about the market. And my docket being in product management or product development, we have shifted from surprising the markets to co-creating products with the market. So when I interact with you guys, it's an exciting opportunity so that we also feel the market that we are championing products for. We get feedback and we co-create something that's really relevant to the communities that we are targeting. Not only for the bank to make revenue, but to create an impact. I think we have really evolved where banks were just focused on the P&L, the bottom line, to creating real impact. And the fact that we are here talking about banking for the young generation, I think it's not really about the instant money that the bank will make, but what is it that we are creating for the future. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction and for setting the pace for our conversation this evening. The SBM Bank has been pushing financial literacy. From your experience, tell us, why is it important to start financial education at a young age, and what risks do we face if we don't? Mwende, I'll start with you.
I think one of the things that is quite evident as we go through life as adults now, and we do say adulting is hard, is because we're dealing with money and we never really learnt about money. We probably encountered our first accounts when we were in our 20s, for those of us who happen to be in that space. And maybe I'm showing my age. So you were encountering accounts when you are much, much older. And now you're doing budgeting, you're trying to figure out how your life is going, and things are not the way that you would expect or you imagined when you were reading the textbooks, because we're told, read hard, get a job, and then life will be great. So if we're starting at a young age, and they say that if you start as young as 7, then you actually become a financially confident human. So that is where we saw an opportunity, because we were looking at what would it mean for somebody who is much younger, who is interacting with this invisible thing that is called money, that it is nowadays. When we were growing up, we saw our parents counting coins, budgeting on a piece of paper, and you were sent with paper money to go and shop. But today we're dealing with this invisible thing called money. It's in M-Pesa, it's in bank accounts, it's on mobile apps, and that's something that is quite invisible. So how do you teach financial literacy to that generation? So we feel that there's an opportunity and the time is right for us to now bank the way our children are living. So they are interacting with apps every day. They are interacting with M-Pesa. We know that they are trading from our account, or however it is that we're doing it. And we want to make sure that they are now able to understand, why is money important? Where does it come from? And what can I do with it? And what we're seeing in the future is, if your child is 7 years old today and you have a bank account for them, we are hoping that when they are 19 or 20, they can be able to show a bank statement and do a construction loan, because they have the financial history and they've been able to interact with money all those years with your help as a parent. So that's really our objective today, to really make sure that the young generation is confident about finance, money, and is able to interact, understand, and know how to spend their money when their time comes.
And I'm sure what you have said is something that we have all gone through. And I've got an 8-year-old daughter who doesn't have a bank account. Feel terrible to say that. But just what you're saying about having an account for them from as young as 7 years, I can only imagine by the time they're 18, how much they will have learned about everything from savings, investments. So thank you so much for kicking us off with a challenge to those of us who have children and we haven't opened accounts for them to rethink that. So thank you, Mwende. Duncan, I'll come to you now. SBM, as I had mentioned, has been really focused on financial literacy, digital innovation. How does this fit into the bank's broader strategy, particularly in shaping the next generation of customers? And I liked what you said when you started off, like, you're not blindly just creating products, you are co-creating what your market needs. Duncan.
SBM, we call ourselves a smart bank for a smarter tomorrow. I think that statement in itself talks volumes. The whole concept, why we have introduced Busara app for the children or for the young generation to drive a product that is based on technology. Why are we doing this? The next generation won't come to the bank. Actually, I believe right now, parents are not even coming to the bank. With your internet banking, mobile money, you have a debit card, credit, prepaid. You only go to the bank if you have a serious issue that you need to discuss with someone one-on-one. Almost 100% of the services that you require, they can be served digitally. When we were growing up, we'd see people going to the bank and coming with a piggy bank. Right now, kids don't even have a chance to see those piggy banks. Everything is digital. When the kids wake up, they're on phone or they're on gadgets, they're doing this or that. It becomes necessary for the bank to go to where the next generation is. They won't come to us. We need to go to them. Where? In the spaces where they operate digitally, online, whether they are on X or the other platforms that they are on WhatsApp. We have seen the things emerging like tap banking, where people are able to do almost 100% because the thought behind it is, am I able to meet your financial needs without removing you from the environment where you operate from? Similarly, telling a kid, come, we want to go to the bank so that we go and empty your piggy bank, you look so old school. Actually, I can bet the kids who are growing now, or probably there will have to be some photos of how the Kenyan currency looks like, the notes or the coins. Because us as a parent, you are going for months without attaching hard cash. Everything you are paying on your M-Pesa, you are paying on your card, you are subscribing online, you really have no contact with cash. Where will our kids even see that cash? You don't even have the coins or the notes to tell them that come, I'll put the money in your, as we call it, a turtle bank. Come, I'll put some coins or some notes in that, then you can go back to empty that in the bank so that they can credit in your account. That not said, we want to create a healthy pipeline customers or young generation who can graduate into mainstream customers. Right now, banks treat young children or the Gen Zs or the younger generation as an alternative, not a main focus. How do we make sure that they are participating in the financial decisions parents are making, or they are aware of that, so that as they evolve, as they graduate, then they are aligned to the products or to the financial drive that the banks are pushing. And it's only healthy that banks take a forefront to entrench the right financial behavior from, let's talk about a credit conduct of customers, how they save, how they budget for their money. We see adults running at the end of the month. Don't have enough money to run my standing orders or to fulfill my obligations. I'll have to run here and there and see if I can fulfill those obligations. Sometimes the loan will go unpaid or my credit card bill will not go through. I am charged of a limit fee. A few days down the line, you are listed in the CRD. How do we entrench the right behavior? From teaching the kids to being responsible, how to budget, how to control things like instant gratification. This is a way that we can create a healthy and bankable population that is not only financially responsible, but creates sustainable financial system.
Duncan, I'll stay with you for a moment just to tell us a little bit more about the Busara app before we go further into the conversation. So SBM recently launched the Busara banking app.
SBM has come up with a fantastic value proposition for the children, which is composition of several banking services, all housed under one digital solution called Busara. Busara is an app access for children. Of course, it has a parental control, the fact that parents will be able to supervise all the activities that the children are doing. And this app houses several products in it. One, very important, we have a payable savings account for the children. And this account currently is earning an interest of up to 8.5% per annum as a savings account. The app hosts a prepaid card that's linked to a child. We have a MasterCard, a multi-currency prepaid card. We'll be talking about how prepaid card is currently a big hit for students or for the children, especially for their petty spends. Using these two tools, or the wallet, an account and a prepaid card, we're able to add some juicing or icing on those products to make it more attractive to the children. We'll talk about things like how a child can set a goal, set a target, do basic tasks, and all these goals or tasks that you are assigned, they are linked to a monetary reward. Today, what happens is parents will either put a standing order, debit money from my salary account, put it into my child's account at the end of the month. So the children, actually, if they ever see their balance, they only see the balance growing. They have absolute no understanding of how big balance has been built up over the months or over the years. But if you tell the child, today you have 100K in your account, come the end of the month, although I'm putting 10K for you, you can earn an extra 5K if I give you this and this task, you complete it, then you unlock that reward. How does it happen? The parent will assign a child a task. Let me say, I'll tell the child, go and do the weeding of the flower beds. And when you finish that task, you take a photo, clean that flower bed, attach it. This is happening on the app. Then I, as a parent, will come and review that task and I'll approve it. If I told you that task is attached to, say, 3K in terms of reward, when you complete that task, you attach a photo and say that is completed. I'll see a notification as a parent. My child, I'll use Austin, who is my son. Austin has finished weeding the flower bed. The photo is attached and I can confirm that the flowers are now clean, no weed. I'll approve that task is completed. Automatically money will be deducted from my account and will be credited to Austin's payable savings account, where is that annual interest. And we pick another task on a goal. If my son says I want to buy PS5, I require 120K or 130K, But because I know that is a banker, he's a main person, he will not just give me 100K that I go. I'll need to create a goal, start to working towards that goal. Eventually, I realize my dream was having a PS5. That enables a child to realize a dream through milestones of savings. If tomorrow he performs well in school, I'll tell him, if you perform well, I'll give you 10K towards your goal. I go to the app and find his goal. The other day, the mother will tell him, because you have made your room very neat and tidy, I'll create something towards your goal. The goal keeps on building up until the child hits that amount. We want to move kids from dependency to independence, where they can work for their money, know what it takes for you to earn back savings, so that as the balance grows in your bank account, then you are involved, you have visibility, and it has taken some effort. That's what Busara is all about, teaching the kids how to earn money, how to spend it, how to save, how to create that discipline.
Wendy, I'll come to you now on our next question. Reflecting on our local landscape, what do you see as some of the most persistent money myths that you encounter, and how do these cultural mindsets manifest in how Kenyans manage or mismanage their finances?
We Kenyans, we are, somebody called us peculiar. I think we are a fascinating lot. So Kenyans, we have this thing of where we say, tumia pesa ikuzoe. I think that is common. Every end month, when you know your salary is checking in, your swag changes, everything. And the thing about this is some of these habits stick. And before you know it, debt becomes normal and consumption becomes your identity. And then saving feels like sacrifice. So those are some of the myths. And I think we are living them every day. And those are the things that we are silently passing on to our kids that we don't realize. And one of the things that we also really have is it's almost a love and hate relationship with money. We don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to use it. And it feels very scarce. And I was listening to, I don't know whether it was a podcast, and they were saying that money is like water, it needs to flow. If it's stagnant, it won't grow. There's always this conversation that if you put your money in a bank, it's just going to be stagnant. And that's not the truth. And one of the reasons why we tagged this particular product to our savings account is because we're aware that if your money is sitting somewhere where there'll be flow, like a savings account where you're earning 8.5%, it will grow. And these are the things that your children will be able to see on the app. They will actually be able to see, oh gosh, this money is growing. This and this is adding up. If my money is now going into a prepaid card where I can be able to spend, and they're spending it on Roblox or whatever it is, you're able to also control that spend and now teach those habits and unlearn the habits that we have been inherited, so to speak, from either bad money habits. So Busara is an opportunity for both the parent as well as the child to learn new habits, because we weren't taught finance in class. It's not taught in school. And we all learn about money when you land a job or you get access to money. So you're learning some of these habits and you're taking courses, whether it's with a financial coach or whoever it is. So this is a great opportunity for both of you, parent as well as child, to learn and unlearn things that you may have learned over time. So those are the kind of things that I think we're trying to unlearn, unpack, debunk, and all of those things, so that we are really bringing up a more financially confident generation. And that's really our opportunity.
I believe that everybody in the spaces identifies with some of the examples that you gave as Kenyans. As you say, we've got our Kenyanness with us and a lot of those things that we do need to unlearn. So thank you. Duncan, I'll come to you now. Many parents struggle with how to teach money habits. What are some practical, everyday ways that parents can introduce concepts like saving, spending, and discipline at home?
Allow me to borrow some words that I learned from an old man. He told us in one forum that most children right now, they are not financially healthy because they lack vitamin N. Vitamin N being no, N for no. They lack that vitamin. They have never been in a situation where they have been told no to something. The current generation, the kind of upbringing I think due to the growing economic empowerment of the parents, growing middle class, we have come out of, as a country, we are no longer seeing extreme poverty, at least in the mainstream towns and cities and whatever. So these children are used to accessing literally everything that they want. If today my child comes and says he wants a good bike going for 400K, if I tell him no, probably he might be depressed. He might think that we no longer care. Remember, this is a luxury. I have to balance many things. But this kid, no one has told him that dad goes to work to earn money. He gets taxed. He has priorities. Probably I'm servicing a mortgage. I have personal investments to do. I have other things to balance. This kid has never sat with anyone to be told, how do you budget? That's not said. How do we bring the children from a formative stage of financial literacy? We teach them, how do you do your saving? Not everything that you see in the street or with your friends online, you must acquire it. Today, if you ask a child, do you know the difference between a basic need and a basic want? To them, everything is a need, including a PS, including the latest iPhone. Actually, currently, children have more expensive phones than the parents. Even that concept, they are not earning, they don't know how you bring the money. How do you teach this child that first you need to earn the money? How do you earn it? By investing some effort. How do you prioritize in terms of savings or what comes on top? If you save that 100K that you would have used to buy an iPhone today and you are earning interest in your table account or whichever investment that you have put the money in, that money has a compounding effect, and at the end of the year, you'll have more money than you started with. But the children right now, if something gives me dopamine, that iPhone, that PS, that's what they will go for. Because we have not told them that the money that you save today, you'll have more money tomorrow. And we have told nothing succeeds like success. If a kid starts being successful now, that success will have the multiplicity effect. They will learn how to save more, invest, become more thirsty. I've talked about how parents can teach children the discipline of saving or spending. Giving them tasks, let them get to understand that everything is not freely offered on a silver platter. We get out of the mentality of handout, work for something, get a task, do it. Let me give an example. My son loves his dog. Every now and then, when you're in the supermarket buying something, he'll tell me, Dad, I've seen a new brand of dog food. Can we try this? Probably you go and realize this dog food probably is costing twice or thrice what we ordinarily buy the dog food at. But I'll tell him, listen here, if you are moving from this brand to this brand, because I usually have a set budget for buying dog food, if I increase it to double, then when you're going to school, he's in high school. When you're going to school, then I'll have to deduct the extra expense from your pocket money. If it is, then no. Then wacha tuchukue hii ya kawaida. Because I've told him, I have money set for this task or this expense. You tell me to spend extra, something is a trade-off. Something will suffer for that. I think that is a display that we need to start off. It's always a trade-off. You save now, enjoy the fruits, or satisfy your instant gratification, and you'll always be in that cycle of want every day.
And I think that is so practical, and we all can pick immediate lessons that we can take home or even begin with our families and with our children tomorrow. Duncan, I'll still stay with you. And you've talked about it briefly. We're raising kids in a digital first, cashless economy. I hadn't thought about it. But when you said we probably will have to show children how money actually looks, because we are completely transitioning into a cashless economy. Tell us, how should financial literacy evolve to reflect this shift, especially with tools like cards and apps?
I think you have put it rightly. Money, notes, coins, they are already disappearing. First, to the next generation that we are dealing with, we said almost for an average family, I believe almost 98%, they have smartphones. At least the target market that we are dealing with or we are interacting with, or the profile that ideally you'll be looking at championing services or products for, they almost have smartphones, not even a basic phone. First, they have access to the gadget, they have access to internet connectivity, all what you would require to be online, they have that. Next, when they are on holiday or at home, these people are spending close to 10 hours plus on the gadget online. Unless you force them, keep your phone down, go do schoolwork. And of course, right now, they're saying their schoolwork is on their laptop or their tablet. I noticed, let me just give a funny joke. We told our son, we are withdrawing your phone so that you now focus on your academic. In another 1 or 2 years, you'll be sitting your exams. So the guy didn't fight, didn't even offer a word or try to defend his phone. But dad is okay, you can give me the laptop because most of the research that you are doing is online. It's okay. Your notes are there. You send sometimes notes. You decide whether you want to print or to do them in software. Agreed. Let's give the guy the laptop. Only to realize that most of his social media accounts, he has already logged them online. So he says, even if you have the phone, that doesn't really remove the access that I have. What am I saying? These guys, they are digital first. Whether they're accessing it on the phone, on the laptop, they are almost inseparable. How do we make sure, because they are spending their time on the gadget, they have hours on the gadget, that we are moving them slowly from telling them a basic need, a basic want, what they learn in business class, either in primary school or high school, we move them to tell them about the savings, how you earn interest. If you borrow money to fulfill your gap, then you will have to pay an interest. So you have to evaluate whatever I'm borrowing money for, is it really necessary? We graduate them from savings and borrowing the basic cards for payments or mobile app. And we now teach them to start advancing into real wealth creation and investment. That's the trajectory that you'll be looking at. Right now, I walk around or whenever I listen to my son discussing with his friends, they have already started talking about FX trading. They're already telling me about the stock market and other alternative investment avenues abroad. This is a kind of graduation that you want to see the current young generation move beyond a prepaid card, a credit card, into real wealth creation and how to multiply what they already have from a spending to multiplying their wealth.
Wendy, I'll now come to you. I'm still around the same question on the invisible money problem, invisible in quotes. So, of course, in this cashless digital first world, money can feel invisible to a child. How does SBM help parents make digital transactions feel real so that children understand that a swipe is still a spend?
So I like what Duncan was talking about, that we have moved from counting money to understanding flows, choices, and consequences. And when money feels invisible, spending feels painless. You're just swiping, you don't know that there's consequence or any of that. So what we're trying to solve with Busara is we want to give kids the visibility to track, to allocate, and also to see their balances. Because you are saving for them, it's their account. And yes, it's our account because you're a parent, but the money is for them. Or for us, let's put it that way. So if they're able to see their balance and there's the believability that when mom or dad says that we're going to save for a goal, I can see it growing and I can see that there's consequence. If I get an A and we've agreed that an A is, say, a value of 1,000 shillings, then I'm seeing, I got good grades and the A's are racking up. Or if I didn't do too well and now I'm operating with 750 or 500 or 100 shillings, you can actually see the consequence and reward. So they're able to see the flow, they're able to see choices and consequences and actually really understand how money works. And they can also say, look, I initially wanted to save for a PS, but I've realized that really what I want to do is save for my college. We went for an activation in one of the schools and we were dumbfounded when one of the kids said that they are saving for their college fund. And this is somebody who is 12. At 12, I don't even think I even was thinking about college because that was somebody else's problem. That was a tomorrow problem. But here they are thinking in that way. So in that, you're already seeing the responsibility of how they are linking actions to outcomes. So they earn, they spend, they save, because they're living in a very different world from what we were living in. And they're able to see and track their spend. Because today you are not giving them the 1,000 shillings, or maybe you are. But if they have a card that they can actually track where their spend is, and you're also able to see this is where they're actually spending money. And this is how we can make financially safe decisions. On our card, you can actually get about 75% off on Unicaf. So if you want to learn a new skill, so that's something that you can do, and it's tied to their prepaid card. So there's many things that we want to teach them about. Yes, money is invisible, but it's still spent. And this is how you can be able to learn new things. So that it's not about feeling painless, but it's actually decisions that you're co-creating with your child. And because we want to keep parents in the loop, you are both learning, you as a parent and the child. And together, you're really creating the kind of legacy you want for your home and setting yourselves up for success. Because if you're successful in your financial journey, chances are that your child is also going to be successful into the future. So we want to make money visible again, even in a digital world. And that's how we want to just plug and play with it in Busara.
Thanks, Wendy. I'll still stay with you for the next question. And it's quite clear, just listening to you and Duncan, that financial literacy is not just knowledge, but actually maybe both knowledge and behavior. So how do we move from teaching concepts to actually shaping responsible financial habits in children?
One of the things that we are learning, because even for us as a bank, we're learning, like Duncan was saying, that we co-create with our customers, is that the way this current generation is dealing with money is very different. And the behavior change is right there, because today they are starting businesses as early as 8, 9, 10. We've got people who are content creators who are young. So you see, these are people who are interacting with real money, not just the chores money that you're giving. It's actual money. So in there, we're just shifting from theory into practice. So if you have a talented child who is, say, an actor or is a musician or a budding musician, and they're getting paid for their talent, where do they keep this money and how do they grow this money? And how are you able to do this together? But if you are also just on the regular like everybody else and you are teaching them the day-to-day, this is the chore that I've assigned you. And we're not really saying that you're paying people for work in the house, because we're not promoting child slavery. It's just really about consequences. You learn by doing, not just something theoretical. And then there's the aspect of repetition. So the more they are able to unlock different goals, whether it was saving for a PlayStation, the next time they are saving for a birthday gift for their sibling, perhaps they're also saving towards the family holiday, because that's something that you can do together. In that repetition, they can actually get to see and learn how money works. And then through small wins. So anytime they unlock a goal, they get a badge. So it's a point of celebration. So you're celebrating, they're celebrating, and in there you're forming behavior and you're forming new ways in which you interact with money. So because we know that habits are built, they're not taught. So it's in that everyday small habits, small wins, doing, not learning, the repetition that really will shift this from theory to practice. And I think we were interacting with a group of people and they were telling us that money doesn't grow on parents. We were told that money doesn't grow on trees, but kids think money grows on parents. And we have this really interesting series that we have on our social platforms where we interviewed a couple of kids and they told us many things about money. So where does money come from? And it's hilarious what kids from different ages think and how they interact with money. So in there, we're actually realizing that this is a conversation that people are not having. And it's high time that as parents, you drive the conversation in your homes, teach your kids so that you're setting them up for the future.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And I still want us to stay within that topic a little bit. And Duncan, I want to rope you back into the conversation. As a parent, for instance, who maybe I haven't been able to, or I don't know how to tie allowance to chores, how do you guide, or what can you tell us about, let's say, how can I start tomorrow? And what's your take on structuring allowances to build a work ethic at home without turning every household task into a commercial transaction? I feel like my children should not listen to this one.
I hope they are listening. That's my hope. When children go to school, I believe they start at different learning stages. Luckily, I escaped CBC, but I know how they are graduating from play school to PP1 to all those categories. And the same way you have day-to-day conversation with your children, I also believe that's the same way we should structure tasks depending on the developmental stage of the child, the cognitive abilities. Of course, we are saying this is more of a brawn, not more of the physical strength, but where do they think they are do they apply their thinking capacity, their reasoning, their problem-solving skills, and that graduates with age. Why are we saying this? I don't want to give the child, as you have put it, the trivial task, like sweeping the house or the front yard, or washing the dishes. Well, that is their day-to-day because, of course, we teach them responsibility that you will not take your water or juice and leave the cup there. You need to take it to the sink or the washing area and clean it up. How do I make the task exciting, challenging, and pushing the child to grow to the next stage? That's why I would highly recommend, are we able to structure a task that aligns to that child's development stage while making them come out of their comfort zone in terms of applying their problem solving, trying to think beyond, and this is what will carry them even for the next task. My fan of 15 goal 16, I'll not give him a basic task because you will think, I think dad is joking and he just want to tell me, I'm not giving you the money for free, I just want to keep you busy. I'll give him something that will be more demanding. I'll tell him, now you have a phone, you have me by app, I want you this weekend go to the supermarket. You have seen your mother do house shopping. These are the items that you are missing. Can you go do shopping? This is a budget that we have. You have up to X amount that you can spend on 1 or 2 items that you want to buy for yourself. I want to make sure that he's learning how to navigate. Get an Uber for yourself. Go to the supermarket. Whether you are paying through M-Pesa or your swiping card, how are you responsible? I'll tell you, most kids who are been sheltered by their parents, when they start experiencing life on their own, either in high school or college, we all know the normal story. By the time they're coming back home, the first semester or the first term, they have lost virtually all their items. I don't have soap, my shirt was stolen, I don't have pens, and the parent, the second term, is you're starting all over again. Why? Because this child never got exposed. They never got involved on the front line. In strategic planning, we always say, nothing about me without me. As parent, when we jump in and we want to do everything for the child, we have not really helped that child to grow. Our brains, just like our muscles that grow when we go to the gym, let them apply their thinking capacity by picking tasks that are commensurate or that will challenge their thinking. That's how I put it. Of course, don't frustrate them with a task that they cannot achieve. And again, don't give them mundane tasks. Give them something exciting and challenging at the same time.
Oh, I really like that. Thank you so much for those tips, Duncan, which clearly any of us and most of us listening, if we do have children, we can actually begin that tomorrow. Very practical. And when they'll come to you, for parents listening in, to give us 2-3 simple actions that they can start with immediately to build better money habits for their children.
So for parents who are listening, I'd say start simple. So give your child visibility of money. Like you really give them visibility of money. Don't talk about it in secrecy. Don't create fear about money. And like Duncan was saying, vitamin N for no. How are you having those conversations? So give them visibility of money and then also let them manage small amounts. And because we are dealing in a digital cashless age, you can do that through a card because you may be worried that I'm giving them access to money and it may be misused or whatever. So you can actually do that through a card where they'll be able to make their payments and start learning the responsibility around money. And then again, like I said, don't talk about money without fear or secrecy because I think that's really where we go wrong. The minute you become an adult and you've never really handled it, then now you get into a panic. If we can start with those simple steps, and this is really why we created Busara and launched it, is so that you're able to just show them the money, which they'll be able to see it growing, compounding, their tasks being rewarded or awarded, and they'll also be able to manage small amounts because from their prepaid card, they can make payments for small things, buying a birthday card for their siblings, or even making payment at canteens because nowadays the schools are accepting cards. And they're also going to be able to have these money conversations with their friends. I can just see them during break saying the way yesterday I had 1,000 bob and then I did this task and now I'm at 1,500 and what I'm planning to do with this. Those are the conversations I think we want kids to be having in this day and age.
What you've just said leads us right into my next question in terms of the long-term impact. Duncan, if we get this right, raising children, as Wende has said, who, are talking about how they're spending, how they're saving, how they're investing, what does a financial literate generation look like in 10, 15 years? And how does that impact our broader economy?
We are looking at from a consumer for financial product and services. We are looking at how we can transition this young generation from where they are doing supervised financial transactions. In SBM Busara app, whenever a child wants to make payment, the payment goes to the parent for approval. If I want to send a M-Pesa to a person X, first I have to create a beneficiary so that my parent knows I'm sending money to this person and this is my friend, so I'm not going to buy prohibited items. When I want to make another payment or to create something on the app, the parent approves. That's for a very lower level of financial literacy where you are saying, although I'm teaching you this, I still want an oversight of what you are doing. If you move from that stage, right now, allow me to quote this because I have a high schooler. Almost all high schools right now, their canteens are not even accepting cash. They are accepting prepaid cards or a debit card or whichever card that the parent opts to give to the child. Why? It is safer. The parent can monitor. You don't have to approve. Remember now the high schoolers, we all need visibility. We don't have to approve. When my son is making a purchase from the school canteen, I just get an alert that he has spent X. I didn't have to approve. So he's making decision, but I have an oversight and I can guide him that I give you money to last you the whole term. But the way I'm seeing alert, that money won't even last you for a month. That's a high schooler. He's making his own financial decision because I know I'm operating with X budget. This is the time it should take me. These are the items that I need to buy or to skip. If I don't do that, then I'll suffer. Now you move a little bit in the higher level, move to a university student. The parent, an university student, now becomes independent. You get your own bank account, you get your own card, registered under your email, under your cell phone number. The parent doesn't even give an alert, doesn't even receive an alert whenever you are transacting. If you are given a pocket money or you get your help loan and you want to spend it over a weekend, parting with friends, your parent will not be there. However, if you have embedded the right culture or the right mentorship and coaching for this student in terms of the financial retreat, you are sure they'll take the necessary precautions not to go down that route of spending the entire semester's cash in 2 or 3 weeks, even before the semester is halfway. Now, to a university, this guy is on the first job, or if he decides to go into business, he's on the first business. How have we taught him in terms of to leverage? Now we have moved from how I'm spending my money to creating leverage for my money. I have started an SME or a small business. I have money X, but I need Y for me to be able to execute this idea. What are the sources of finance that I can get? How do I make sure that I'm observing all the possible pitfalls that might stop me either from accessing money from the bank, or if I get money from the bank, that I can be able to honor my obligations. This person now has moved from the stage of a student to someone who is now multiplying his wealth, real income generation. They go all the way to growing the business to the next level. If you're in career, you start graduating all the way now to the real world management and people who are looking for life experiences because now they have made money. These are people who want to invest their money in Singapore, in Cayman Islands, in Mauritius, world management, those mutual funds, all those things. That's the path that we are looking at. He's who can go this path, knowing how to transition from this stage to the next stage, from just saving, from spending, to multiplying wealth, to real-time investments. That's the journey that you're looking at.
Thank you so much.
By the way, let me just note something. Mid-last year, my son approached me and asked me, Dad, you always tell me that I have a savings account. How much money do you have there? I told him, how much are we earning in that account? Of course, I told him where the interest rates for savings accounts are. In fact, this year I've seen them what? Last year, I think, were in the ranges of 7-8%. He asked me, Dad, this money you're keeping there, did you know if you go to the exchange traded funds, the ETFs, my money can make more than this? I told him, are you sure? He said, yes. Please go buy me gold. I told him, son, with this land that you have, it's not even enough to buy you an ounce of gold. He researched. He came and told me that go to the stock exchange. We have the traded fats. You can buy units of gold. You don't have to buy kilos. He told me if you bought gold with the money that I told you last year, this is how it has moved. Now you are sitting there waiting for X. You see now, he has become involved or getting interested because he wants to multiply his money. It's in his interest. He's out there researching. And I believe this is what we want to cascade down.
Absolutely. Well, that is incredible, Duncan. Thank you so much. Before I come to the final question to you and Mwende, I just want to ask you one more thing, Duncan, in regards to safety. With our children moving into digital banking, of course, security is a top concern. Tell us a little bit about how SBM ensures that while we are teaching children to be financially savvy, we're also teaching them to be digitally safe and also alert to scams.
Good. I'll try to summarize it two ways, or in a brief manner. How a child operates, we say we are made of, is it nature and nurture? Nature is who you are, your DNA, your behavior, or your genetics. Then there's nurture, how you have been socialized, your culture, human behavior, coaching, mentoring, modeling, how you have done this. I've talked about Busara app, where we are in the formative stages. Is what we would call in your traditional banking a make-a-checker concept, where a transaction has to be approved by your supervisor. Yeah, I'm saying I'm supervising a child when you transact, approve. That is the mechanism or the control safeguard that we have put on the child's app to make sure the parent has a full oversight and approval. Remember, these being minors, they cannot contract with the bank. That's why every transaction has to go to the parent to approve so that we have the consent or the signature, even if it's a digital signature or that PIN or the login that the parent has done to approve, the parent takes responsibility. However, these children have other avenues of either accessing cash or transacting that we might not have visibility of. That's why I say, as much as we aim at controlling the hardware in terms of the hard supervision, make a checker concept, can we also control the software, the mindset of this child? And we always say children don't learn, they observe. If my child see me gambling or betting or chasing quick wins or supernormal returns, they will exactly do that. But if I tell my child, every time you see something free, think twice, look around, probably on the mousetrap. That's why you get free chief. Think about the deal that you are being offered. If you cultivate the right mentality, then they'll also be on the lookout. They'll not be told, this deal is too good. We have had people who have lost their money because we are told, send this money to this pay bill number by the end of the year or the end of the month, you will have doubled your money without understanding what is the underlying investment I'm getting to, or this person telling me let's invest, what are they exactly doing? We teach them that, then they will not be scammed online. When the deal is too good, you think twice, and nothing exists for free.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Duncan. So I'll now take our final questions. Mwende, I'll start with you. Most financial conversation focus on spending, on saving. Tell me, how does SBM view the role of philanthropy or giving in a child's financial education? Is there room for social impact in the app's ecosystem?
One thing that completely blew my mind when we were doing the launch of Busara, we had children in the room. So we were launching to media, our different stakeholders, and we had children in the room. And they actually asked about giving. So for them, you're either saving, you're investing, or you're giving. Gen Alpha are very big about giving. So for us, we're very aware that this is an important aspect of the world to come. You had Duncan talking about our Pebble account or our piggy bank, but it's an actual turtle bank. So it's in the shape of a turtle. So why is it in the shape of a turtle? For us, our focus on sustainability is turtle conservation. Why did we pick that? Because when you hear about the different countries that SBM is located, we are all located and surrounded by the Indian Ocean. So we felt we needed to conserve something that is common to all of us. And the sea turtle was one of the endangered species at the time. So we're teaching that. We want people to know that turtles are endangered. And I know they are slowly coming off of that list. But just because they're coming off of that list doesn't mean that they will stay off that list, because the human beings, we tend to be quite naughty. We save something and then we put it right back on the endangered list. So giving back is important. So how do you do that as a parent? If you know that your child is big on the social impact, create goals that are such aligned. They may want to visit a children's home for Christmas or during their holiday. So that can be part of the shared goals that you'll be doing as a family. So yes, the app is aligned through the goal setting, the task, however you want to shape your financial journey, you can actually do that through the app. So giving is an important aspect, and you want to make sure that the future generation is able to just align their goals with whatever.
I really loved what you said, and I do agree with you that Gen Alpha is really big on giving, and we must all play a role in enabling them to pursue that as part of their lives. And I think we will be joining them in changing a cause and socially impacting a generation. So thank you so much, Wendy. Duncan, let's wrap with you now. It feels like the start of a journey. Are there plans to evolve this for older teens, or perhaps introduce features that support youth entrepreneurship as they grow out of childhood? And perhaps, Duncan, with that question, I'd also like to know, because I've got children and I'm like, they need to be on the Busara app. What's the process? How can we sign up our children onto Busara?
Yes, the plans are there. We have launched what we call in the product language an MVP, or a minimum viable product. We get so that we can obtain early market feedback, we co-create, and we keep enhancing the product to make sure that we are addressing real customer needs and we are relevant. The plans are there, and as mentioned earlier, the theme around this is moving children from dependency to a real empowerment through various stages. There are those children that you will empower by savings, showing them how to spend, but as you grow, they need to be empowered on investment and real wealth creation. That is a strategy. Once the children have become conversant with how do I spend, how do I do budgeting, then we start now giving them the next services in small doses as they become sharper and sharper money-wise. The plan is there, the products are there, we have a healthy pipeline and a very clear path, as I have mentioned, from the children who are doing under parent supervision all the way to the college student. When you're in your first job or your first business, how do we create leverage for you as an SME, as a corporate? The pipeline is there. We are more than excited. We actually want to welcome everyone. Soon, your child will be hearing about Busara from their friends. The word is out there. There is something called the FOMO, the fear of missing out. And they'll be asking you, how come so they have money on their app? They can do prepaid card. They can overwatch how much their money is growing with the compounded interest on the double account. Now to do this, there are two critical elements that you require. Of course, an account with SBM Bank as a parent. Remember, when you create goals and tasks and milestones, the way you interact with your child is that when a task is accomplished, the money will automatically be debited or deducted from your account and credited to the child's account. What is more amazing, when I create goals, I say I want to create a goal for a bike, for a holiday, I need to buy a camera because I love photography. We create mini wallets within your account. And this money is locked to that goal or specific use that you are planning that money for. You cannot just withdraw that money and spend it. However, this money is sitting in your account and is earning you interest. The day you accomplish your goal and you say the goal has been accomplished and you want to redeem it, the money is released back to your account and it becomes available balance. So we need an account for you as a parent, then a savings account, a payable savings account for the child. Not only the account for the need of it, it's beneficial for the child in terms of the interest that you are earning there. Also, it's the basic tool which you use to teach the child the basic skills.
Wow. We need another one. We actually do need to set another conversation because I feel, first of all, as a parent, so empowered, and I want to believe those who have been here with us have also felt it. I think it is an absolutely critical conversation that we must have to help nurture the next generation to be more financial literate and to be more empowered in their finances than we are. And as Duncan mentioned, the impact, not just for themselves, but for the economy as a whole in the next 10, 15 years will be quite incredible. So thank you all so much. You have been listening to this incredible Spaces with a discussion on how to raise financially responsible children, with, of course, the growing importance of financial literacy. This session has been exploring practical ways that parents can use to teach children the value of money, the value of saving, and of course, responsible spending. One of the things that has really stood out for me in this spaces is how we as parents can use everyday activities like chores, allowances, goal setting to nurture healthy money habits in our children. And of course, there has been a focus on the broader impact of financial education on the next generation and how early financial lessons contribute a financially savvy society. So thank you all so much. I want to thank our hosts, Mwango Capital, for always bringing together this incredible spaces. So if you're not already following Mwango Spaces, please do, so you can also be part of some of the incredible conversations that they have every week. The handle is Mwango Spaces. Big thank you to SBM for being our sponsors this evening and just being with us throughout this conversation, clearly showing your passion for empowering the next generation of our young people. So thank you so much. And to each and everyone who made time to stay on, a big thank you. Thank you to Mulandi and Duncan Kiberu from SBM for being our incredible speakers this evening. So thank you all.